going, everybody? So we're going to take a current look at the conditions that are going on in northwest and north central Oklahoma, and we will be taking a look at the models to see what is going to be happening on Thursday. And so my name is Philip McGee. Many of you may know me as Okimezzo 2017, but I'm looking out for the people up in north central Oklahoma, and so I want to try and do a weather update at least one time a day, maybe twice. But as you can see on the radar, there is some precip that is out west. I'll put it into motion so that we can see what's going on. It's moving off to the east with a small disturbance. There's a cold front that will be coming in later. If we can decrease this here, basically you're going to see this area. The cold front's going to be up here near Goodland, Kansas, making its way down to the south. There's also a dry line that's established out here to the west, west of Amarillo. And so it's creating this little bit of instability here near Ashland, Kansas, and then making its way eastward. And so whether that's actually reaching the ground, I hope that it is, because I know that there is in a dire need of rain in that area, as well as in north central Oklahoma. So we'll go ahead and pause that and go to the latest frame, and then we'll come back and we will smooth right over into the model data, because there's a few things that we need to take a look at here. First and foremost, and as you can see, this blue area here is that cold front, and as it goes through, it will take and progress down. I need to get this over to loop here real quick, so bear with me 1 second. But we'll see the temperatures will start to cool down just a little bit. Skies should be clear, except for out there in northwest Oklahoma. They might progress a little bit further eastward, so you see that cold air dip down, and then it now this is for an extended period, so we're all the way through Thursday. There's Friday, and so temperatures don't go too bad. They don't go south too bad as far as that cold air, but it is going to be enough to create some instability in the atmosphere. This is what we call the North American model, and we're going to take a look at, number one, the temperatures, especially for the target area, and we're going to talk about just a few more things too. So very dry air right now, but as you can tell, as we go through the days, now we're starting to get into Wednesday. Here's Thursday. Moisture begins to increase. We're going to have southerly flow, south-southeast winds bringing in moisture from the Gulf, and it's going to make its way up into the center portion of Oklahoma, even up along the I-35 corridor, even over to our region where we're talking about. And dew points there are at 50. This is at 4 p.m. There is 7 p.m. Sorry, 7 p.m. with the time change. We have to go an extra hour. So 7 p.m. There is 10 p.m. And so dew points are in the 50s, and they gradually increase. Now that's as far as this model will let us go and take a look at. Some of the things that we need to take a look at here as well is that wind and what's going to be happening. We can start to see the edge of that bowling ball that's out there off of the west coast, and it's going to come across. watch the low pressure develop here in this area as well. But there's going to be another one as it moves to the south. And so this is going to be our weather maker for Thursday and Friday. So those lines of isobar that we talked about before are really close together. So you're talking about winds pretty strong, and the wind barbs are showing 20 to 30 miles per hour, or knots, I'm sorry. So 20 knots, so about 25 to 28 miles per hour out of the south. All right. Let's come over to the severe weather portion of this, and a couple of things that we need to look at. First off is our most unstable cape, and so we'll take that over. This is Monday. We'll get over into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So this is Friday and Thursday, and it's showing the most unstable cape. Really, the moisture is very, very limited in that region. So we're not looking very good at all for storm initiation. And I'll tell you why here in just 1 second. And so here again, we don't see that moisture transport that we were seeing earlier on this until we get later on into Friday. And so we can't look at this model because it doesn't go out that far. That only goes to Friday at 06Z. So we need to technically go into Saturday in order to see what's going to be happening on Friday. But here is one of the reasons why the severe threat could be somewhat non-existent. And that is going to be what they call a cap or a lid in place. And so you notice those red and purple colors starting to come in. So very, very, very strong cap. Okay. And so if the storms can form off of the dry line that's going to be positioned out here and march eastward, they're going to have more than enough moisture, more than enough instability, more than enough environmental characteristics to rotate. Does that mean that they're going to produce a tornado? No. But they will have that potential to rotate. And so we can also look at the bulk shear to see what is happening with it. And obviously that is what causes storms to rotate, is shear. And so here that comes, that bowling ball of energy off of the west coast. Remember, we were talking about, and it kind of gets stretched out again. It goes from basically a neutral tilt, which would be straight up and down. And I'll back that up here in just a second. It still stays positive tilt. So anywhere from southwest to northeast, when it's stretched out like this, that's called a positive tilt system. And so as you see, it gets taken away by that northern jet and kind of absorbed into that. And so lessening the severe threat, for the most part, it doesn't make it zero, but you can see that it needs a great big huge diving trough in order to create that major rotation. So not going to say that there isn't going to be spin in the atmosphere, because there probably will be, but not as dramatic as you would normally see closer to, your mid to late May. Let me rephrase that again. Late April into May, and then starting to diminish in June. And so, that being said, really the NAM is not picking up on a lot of information, which we need the rain. We can do without the bad weather. But obviously, we got to take what we get. And so, there's not much showing up on anything as far as moisture. Now we go into something that we can go a little bit further out and look at the GFS, which is the Global Forecasting System. And so we'll go back into the supercell composites again, and we'll get all the way back over here to Thursday. So it's saying around 4 p.m., you're starting to see a little bit of stuff that potentially could happen. Here is 7 p.m. You see that moisture transport coming up. And that's why we must look at all different versions on these things. So this is Friday, 18. There's 4 p.m. And so really that stuff that comes in, you see that is kind of along the I-35 corridor. This is Friday, but this is just one instance. Now, again, we got to take a look at everything else. So let's see what it's saying for surface-based CAPE, which is, if you remember right, convective available potential energy. And so because of the data, this one's a little bit slower. It should get us over into the Thursday time frame. So there's 18, there's 4 o'clock. Okay, this is surface-based CAPE. So there's a little bit of instability that comes in south, but 960, there's a 1100 down in Texas still. And then it progresses up into south central Oklahoma, and probably the nose of it's going to be up around Enid, somewhere like that. That is at midnight, and then it increases along the I-35 and west of I-35 by 6 a.m. So things have really kind of thinned out a little bit, and a lot of that has to do with that cap that is in place. And so the models are good about picking that stuff up, but it's not so good about picking up the other dynamics that are involved. And so, like I said, if a storm, and it's going to have to really, really, really try its heart out in order to do that. But if it can indeed get established, so here the helicity index really picks up. And again, this is at Friday at 06, so everything starts to move off to the east at that point. Let's go back here to 21Z on Thursday. So we start to see just a little bit of instability. So 7 p.m., let me get back over here because I'm botching this up a little bit. Let me go back one. 7 p.m. out in western Oklahoma, the EHI is very minimal. Generally, if you want to see something like that, the cap out there is not overly large. 57 dew points, 68 degree temperature. So photographs are still curved, not as bad as they were the other day when we looked at them. And so, but numbers are fairly weak there. And obviously, we're still 3 days out. Things can change as far as that goes. But that cap is pretty strong especially later on, as we seen there just a second ago. And so, therefore, it is going to be a challenge to see what exactly partakes. So, hopefully, this rain will make it over. It's a little bit. It's a little ways away from where Waukeeta is right now. This is a boundary that is positioned there. You see it's 54 in Alva, 57 and 59 in Enid. So anywhere behind that boundary, the temperatures are a little bit cooler. And so that also has to do with storm interaction as well. And so another product that we've added, and we're pulling off of the radar site there at Cherokee, the strip, the airstrip there. But if we were to take and do a distance measurement, all right, from where that precip starts, and just draw a line straight across over to about where Waukeeta is at, it's approximately 96 miles away. And so it's going to take its sweet time about getting there. So, like I said, hopefully that it will stick together. We can pull off of Dodge City's radar real quick and see if it gets a little bit thicker as far as rain goes. So, looks like it's pretty heavy rain, actually. And again, we can put this in motion as well and see, watch it move across. So, near Cimarron and Montezuma and Meade, Kansas, and making its way across. So this radar is a little bit less intrusive as the other radar that we're using, and so it may not be able to pick up all of that moisture, but I would probably go with what WSV3 is showing as far as that rain there. And so it is starting to get some yellow in it, so maybe it's increasing. Like I said, I hope that region does get some rain because we definitely need it. Kaiser, don't be barking at people. So I got my buddy in here with me tonight. But yeah. So there I am. And so that's moving almost due east, which is a good thing. I mean, temperatures are pretty chilly up here in Dodge City. Let me make sure that we're on temps, to be honest with you. Let me make sure of that. What are we on? Yeah, so that is... air's dry. I'm surprised that there actually is any kind of moisture falling at all on that. So, but that is temperature. So 52 degrees, 54 there at Vance, Alva. Alva's airport. So, hopefully we'll be able to see some rain up there soon. Like I said, the storms themselves could stay at bay and just give a good dousing of rain, and that would be great. But there's still that 15% slight risk that is out for that region. I can show that information as well. Let's see here. And we can go with day 4 probabilistic And so that region right there will be the region that could experience severe weather. And so that's going to be Thursday. We can also take a look at day 5 where they have it. Obviously, it has shifted much further east. So basically Bartlesville all the way down into southern Oklahoma, southeast Oklahoma, and far eastern. Then you get into an enhanced risk over in the Fort Smith all the way up from there. So that being said, let's look at the day 3, which actually let's look at day 1 and see if there's a general risk. Not showing anything for day 1. Day 3, no general risks at all. One thing that we will notice is this, that the winds will pick up and blow out of the south, probably starting Wednesday. And so that'll be something that we'll need to watch out for. Now, we also on this, we can go and we can do fire weather as well. And so if we do the day 1 on the fire weather, I think what you'll notice is whenever we get into day 4, I believe it is, that fire weather really gets strong out here along the Texas and New Mexico border, past Amarillo and out toward Stratford, Dumas, Dalhart, all of that area, all the way even over into New Mexico, Tucumcari, Clovis, Fort Sumner, and everything else. And so that gives you an idea. That'll be behind the dry line. The temperatures there, as far as dew point temperatures, will be extremely dry, which obviously is not a good situation to be in. So anyway, so that's it for right now. Not a whole lot to report on. I'll try and do more. Especially closer to that day. We'll have a day 3. They'll do a probabilistic again in the morning. And so the model data will be starting to come in a little bit more as the days progress. And we'll start getting into the shorter range models here in the next day or so. And so once we get to about 40 some odd hours, we'll start to really be able to dial in and see what's going to be going on. So y'all stay tuned. I appreciate everybody for watching, and we'll see you on the next side. I'll remember that if you have not hit that subscribe button, please do so. Hit that share button as well. We need to get this out as much as possible, especially for those folks in southern Kansas and northern Oklahoma, so that they can stay tuned, because I know that they get missed out on a lot. If the things are going on down in Oklahoma City, which generally, as the month progresses more, you're going to start to see more storms develop from the southwest and move across down along that I-44 corridor, and you guys kind of get left out. And so that's the whole point of this doing this. And so please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like as well, and help build the channel, because the more that we can get out, the algorithm notices those things and starts to move us up that line. And so whenever we do that, that helps us out. It helps you out, because we get more viewers, we get more people tuning into the channel. And those people that are up there, Deer Creek, Nardin, Medford, Nema, Manchester, Anthony, even over as far as Medicine Lodge, and even in that area as well. So I know Wichita, Kansas takes pretty good care of their people. And so, but still, I want to help out as much as I can. And so by doing that, sharing, subscribing, liking, notification bell, that helps us all out. So with that